Today on Locked on Rockies, pre-opening day reflection.
You are Locked on Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked on Rockies podcast for today, the 7th day of 2022 in the month of April. That was a really weird way to read that date. Also known as, for a bunch of baseball teams, opening day. It is here. Yes, indeed, folks. We did a pretenders, contenders thing on the Locked on MLB side. We did a division crossover. Opening day is officially here. Happy opening day to you all. I know the Rockies are tomorrow, but hey, that doesn't mean it's any less exciting. We got in the live chat Devin saying happy opening day. Stephen Cross saying happy opening day. Happy opening day. Yes, indeed. This is the Locked on Rockies podcast with now, here it is. The train has left the station and the Rockies season, well, I guess we still have to wait a little bit. The baseball train has left the station. I'm just too excited. I keep getting ahead of myself. So the Rockies and us Rockies fans anxiously pacing at the opening day train station platform for the Rockies train to take off. But baseball kicks off today, and the Locked on MLB podcast network is going to be bringing you all your teams every single day, all baseball season long. So don't miss out. If your team's the Rockies, well, you're in the right place, because I'm Rockies fan extraordinaire Paul Holden, and we're bringing you all sorts of great Rockies breakdown, analysis, talk, chat with me, Paul Holden, and you, the fans, in our YouTube live chat that you can subscribe to at our YouTube page, just like Devin and Steven are right now. You can also follow us on Twitter at LO Rockies, and hopefully this season, not hopefully, this season is going to be even better than last season, folks. We are going to get more guests, more crossovers, and I'm going to do more stuff to make sure that this is the best Rockies podcast that it possibly can be, all while teaching you something and learning something along the way. I think I like to, as a host, I like to be open about the fact that this is a place where we all come and learn together and talk about our favorite team, which is the Colorado Rockies. And that's kind of my mindset today. I don't have any late breaking analysis for you, but there is some Rockies news that we should talk about here first, as the Rockies did have a last-second scheduling change due to what else? COVID-19. Unfortunately, the Rockies still have to deal with the pandemic, the whatever you want to call it these days, endemic, whatever they are saying here. But we had some moves here. So let's get your Rockies update. Lucas Gilbreth and Ramon Stevenson are placed on the COVID list. Justin Lawrence and Jordan Sheffield are up in replacement. So they the Rockies, unfortunately, not able to get away from the spring completely injury free, but a couple of arms that we will see soon again. Unfortunately, though, Gilbreth and Stevenson, two arms that the Rockies were going to count on. But hey, now we get to take a look at some of the other arms that were kind of on the fence in terms of making the team in spring training. And one of the players that I talked about a little bit yesterday, which could be an interesting X factor for the team, in Justin Lawrence. But unfortunately, COVID's still impacting the Rockies, but that is at least it's hopefully they're going to be nice and asymptomatic and good to go. There's no details on that, but it didn't really sound any alarms, so to speak. But I just wanted to take this time. I wanted to take this moment. I wanted to talk today, before we dive into some fan questions from Twitter yesterday, to just kind of talk about fandom and Rockies fandom and sports fandom, and it's just gotten increasingly more complicated to be a sports fan in the year 2022, and just like with everything. And I'm not trying to turn you off in that way. I'm just kind of trying to give my 2 cents as you navigate this season as a Rockies fan, as you go through this baseball season, and in which you will see the Rockies do some really fun and great things, but most likely going to be another source of frustration, or as Devin in the live chat says, the heart problems you might get from the bullpen. Just remember why you like the game of baseball, why you enjoy the Rockies, what it is about being a Rockies fan that excites you. There's a lot to get caught up in this season. There's a whole new look. There's a whole new team. It's a whole new identity, new GM. And there's some interesting things that a lot of people, especially people that don't follow the Rockies, that don't know about the Rockies, that don't watch the Rockies every day, like you, the fans, do, you can get caught up in, and you especially when it's like something like Twitter fights and Twitter beefs and things like that. Let your passion fly, but be reasonable about it. And also be reasonable in your Rockies passion and in your Rockies fandom. Just because someone criticizes the Rockies or just because someone is down on the Rockies doesn't necessarily mean they are, going after you, going at you and attacking you, so to speak. But it also isn't an excuse to just let people just spew out uninformed takes about the team. I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff being talked about the Rockies. I might have shifted more into a more optimistic side after the off season. I might be more in a camp of there is a potential of Rockies success, but I also keep it pretty grounded, and I think I've made it abundantly clear that I think the Rockies are a mid 70 win team. However, when you see these people come out and put the Rockies at 61 wins, let's see, I can't remember. Let's see here. MLB has the National League projections of the Rockies. They tweeted this out via Fangraph Zips. The Rockies at 70 and 92, and the Diamondbacks at 71 and 91. I still don't know what the heck is going on with all this Diamondback stuff that's coming out of nowhere, and thinking that their team is in a better position with their younger players. But there's an even worse one from, let me see here. This is from The Athletic. The Athletic says the Rockies are projected at 61 wins and 101 losses. And it's just like, folks, the Rockies aren't that bad. When you look at I know you look at their roster and there are worries about depth, especially in some areas, but there's no way that this team is 100 losses. But I'm not going to sit here and just let that fester. I can't just sit here and and dwell on these people that, because the Athletics got, they got people that cover the Rockies. They are informed baseball people. There are tons more people that are better knowledged and better suited in some areas of analysis in this game than me. But when it comes to Rockies baseball, there's a small chunk of the world that watches more Rockies baseball than me and a whole bunch of other fans and beat writers and beat reporters. If you actually follow the people and look and read and dive into what the numerous outlets that cover the Rockies talk about, you can actually develop and get a deep understanding of what this team is. What I appreciate about the amount of Rockies stuff out there is that you have some people that might be a little bit more pro Rockies. They kind of love, it's Rockies baseball. They love to be all about the Rockies, and you can't blame them. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, we're all about the Rockies too, but but on the other side, we can't always just sit and be doom and gloom. The Rockies are the worst team in baseball. They're blah, 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 and lead into these narratives from outside thinking that the Rockies are going to only win 61 games. Looking at the Rockies roster, and the factors that they do, means that they're not giving those. I didn't read the whole thing. I was just kind of scrolling, and because those numbers, all the numbers we talked about, all the lines, all the early things, all the over-unders are going to literally starting to become meaningless here in a couple of weeks. The Rockies could drastically change the narrative about them with a hot start that could completely change in the middle of the season, or vice versa. So I just want you to kind of remember and reflect and just don't get caught up too much in the noise and dive and get your analysis, dive in about your team. But I encourage you, I implore you to make sure that you are not getting so caught up in some areas of Rockies baseball. That's my job. I get paid to focus on some of that stuff. Don't let the Rockies completely ruin your day sometimes, but it's good. I want to talk more about the passion and why I think Rockies fans and why I get kind of in my feels around this time. But we got friends that help make this show happen, people that help keep the lights on around here, and we got to talk about them. Hey, we've talked about it before, and we were talking about it again. If it's a line and you want to find out more about it, betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships, odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. It's opening day, folks. If you want to go and check out things while the opening day, opening weekend baseball action at BetOnline, well, they're your number one the number one spot. No better place to go. And if you haven't hit those future bets, you got time to do so. I think today for the Rockies before their season starts, I would imagine so. And there's some interesting future bets that you might want to take a look at BetOnline. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Remember, that is betonline.net, your number one source for all your sports betting info. All right. It's the passion of Rockies fans. It's the drive of Rockies fans that gets me frustrated. When I did my first podcast last year when I took over the podcast, the first podcast I did was the first time the Rockies matched up against Nolan Arenado and the St. Louis Cardinals. Probably one of the lower feelings I would imagine. I know it's a feeling of remembrance and excitement, obviously, but it was also a really tough time to be a Rockies fan, as was the rest of the season. But through this podcast, through just following the team, there's something about this team in purple that we love, and I appreciate that. And that's what makes the Rockies a special team. Rockies fans, they might not be out there, and unfortunately, with how many people aren't from Colorado that live in Colorado, it's sometimes we get drowned out in the home stadium. But the real Rockies fans out there, which there are a ton of them, know and care deeply about this team and know how important it is when the Rockies are successful and relevant in the Colorado sports narrative. It makes the summer more exciting. It builds up an anticipation around the state throughout the season. And what better way to be excited on, with a Rockies team than to lead into an exciting Broncos season and still a great potential season from the I know the Nuggets, it's been a whole thing, but next year looks to be super promising as well. I know the season's not over, but there's still a lot of what ifs. The Avs are incredible. The Broncos. Now it's time for the Rockies to capture that and to carry that over. And that's why people are frustrated. That's why people get frustrated with this team. But at least we get the breath air of this offseason of moves being made. Will those moves pay off? We'll find out soon. But right now, as you are preparing to gear up, if you're in that mindset of, do I want to go to games? Am I looking to get that Rockies hat? Am I gonna go and support this team? Do what you want. I firmly, I am, as much as I've talked about the passion and the energy, I can't blame Rockies fans. I can't blame Colorado baseball fans that have been turned away by the actions of the Rockies. This year might be exciting and there might be some optimism for some, but the pessimism of others is warranted because of why are we here when we could have been in a different situation with other players that we know and we love. This transition, this period of Rockies baseball, the last 4 years, honestly, of Rockies baseball, even with the playoffs ups and downs. I mean, it's been such a roller coaster to be a Rockies fan. But the fans that care, and it's great. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of. I'm just saying that there's so much to love about Rockies baseball. There's so much to love about the game of baseball. There's so much to enjoy about this time of year as a sports fan, as a baseball fan. And we will break it down. I will not let this organization skate by. I will not lighten up on my criticism when I think it's warranted. But I'm also not going to sit here and always be negative and not look for something, because I want the Rockies, as much stress, as much frustration, as much times as this dang baseball team has made me want to bang my head on a wall. It's still one of the most important things in my life. but I want to treat it that way, and I want to treat it with the respect, and I want to treat myself with the respect, and not get caught up in things and too much stuff that can get caught up in baseball sportsdom, because being a sports fan is complicated. There's a lot of it's just and when people reevaluate their relationships to the Rockies or to sports or to fandom in general, it's a good conversation to have. I think to talk about the role that sports plays in the world and your life, it's good to have open, honest conversations. It might be kind of crazy. You might be saying there, what's this guy talking about? Open, honest conversations about sports fandom, but it's important. Rockies baseball means a heck of a lot to a lot of people around here, and we're going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy the ups. I'm going to enjoy the downs, and I'm going to enjoy for starting tomorrow for the next 162 games. I'm watching Rockies baseball, and I'm watching Rockies baseball with a ton of great fans like yourself. The biggest thing this podcast has taught me, not only about how to be a better broadcaster, how to learn, to make my increasing my knowledge of the team, but I'm just reminded of there is a wide audience of Rockies fans. Frustrated Rockies fans, passionate Rockies fans that just say, you know what? I just want to go to the ballpark and enjoy a game in a beautiful day in Colorado. And other fans that say, I'm not supporting Dick Monfort until he is long gone out of town. You know what, folks? Have good, open, respectful conversations about why you might be that way, about why the Rockies make you feel the way you do, but respect each other, respect fans, and respect players, and respect the game, and just enjoy baseball season. Let's love it. Let's have a blast, and I know we will. I'm not trying to call anything out. I just me as a sports fan, my relationship with sports, it's been something that's been there my entire life. It's something that has literally been it's the furthest thing I can remember back. I was at sporting events, whether professional or my brothers or anything. Sports just plays such a massive role in my life, but they're also complicated. They also bring out emotions, good and bad emotions. And I've been kind of it's just something I thought of. And I don't know, just wanted to didn't have a ton of late breaking analysis for Rocky stuff today. I just kind of wanted to talk about my thoughts on Rockies fandom here. Stephen Cross in live chat says, I remember last year, Fangraphs had us around 100 losses. It made sense because we had recently traded Arenado, but going into this year, we have a much better staff than last year. Devin says we're at worst, we're like 73 wins. And speaking of betting, I took the over 69.5 on BetMGM last night. Not 21, but it's not. There you go. There's see, this is what I'm saying. We got people in live chat on the YouTube podcast. We got people coming in that said happy opening day. It's just so great. I don't know. Baseball season, I get romantic about baseball, and I get romantic about Rockies baseball, no matter what the Atlantic is going to put the Rockies at or anything like that. I do think the Rockies are in a better position than we are, but there is some stuff. But you can't put your full fan blinders on, though, folks. That's the other thing. There's a lot of stuff that is exciting about the Rockies. A lot of moves were made, but we still got to see what's going to happen with this rotation. Do we have the starting rotation depth? Are those young arms going to play out? Of course, the bullpen. What's going to happen with the bullpen? And is this team going to score more runs? And is this team going to be better on the road? There's still all you going around, and there's still all of these things that you should consider. But it's baseball, baby, and anything can happen. And if the Rockies can take, and if the Rockies capitalize on opportunities, just like any other team in this league, because they are all professional baseball players. Yes, any team. I know that's crazy to say. If you capture your opportunities, you never know what might happen. Is it a playoff berth? Is it an interesting trade package at the deadline? Is it something else? Capture your opportunities. The Rockies haven't always done that, but they did go out this offseason. They had an opportunity to land a big fish. They did. They had the opportunity to bring in free agents to plug some holes. They did. And these young guys now have the opportunity to step up, show up, and say, hey, I am ready to contribute to the Colorado Rockies at the professional level. Adrian says, love you standing up for us on the round table. Yeah, that's the thing. Stand your ground, too, as a Rockies fan. Don't let everyone just scoff at you for being a Rockies fan. There's a reason why you're a Rockies fan, and there's reasons to be excited for the Rockies, and we're excited alongside with you. We're going to take some fan questions from Twitter yesterday. We're going to wind down the show and give you a brief preview of the opening day plan for tomorrow. But before we do that, got to tell you about our friends at Rock Auto. This episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Save your time and money, folks. Gas is expensive. Everything when it comes to, I just had to do a whole bunch of maintenance on the car just last week, and I am kicking myself because I didn't take advantage of Rock Auto. And I have ended up spending more. I ended up spending a lot more. And if you don't use Rock Auto, you'll be spending 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore the easy-to-use website today. That's rockauto.com, and you're going to find the solution to your auto parts needs. That's rockauto.com, and when you go to rockauto.com right now, you can see all the parts available for your car or truck, and you can write "Locked On" in that "How did you hear about us" box, so they know that we sent you. You help me, I help you. It's a good time. They got the amazing selection. They're going to help you save money with their reliably low prices. They have all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. That's rockauto.com. All right, fan questions here from Twitter yesterday. Let's go in and dive in. I answered some of them on the Twitter, but we'll check them out here. At GirlDad88 says, I see a lot of potential for this team to be great and a legit contender. What needs to happen in order for that potential to be filled? The big three we talked about yesterday, folks. The big three things the Rockies have to be better at this year if they want to improve from last year, be in that extended wild card position, and outperform Paul's mid 70 win total. They have to score more runs and be a better team on offense. Their bullpen has to be better. They has to be at least a good bullpen, and they have to be a better team on the road. The team has to be able to go out into especially non-division teams and take advantage of weaker teams across baseball if they are going to go out and make some impacts there. If this team is going to be a contender, that's what they have to do. They need to go out on the road. They need to beat bad teams on the road, and they need to make sure that they are taking care of business at home, scoring more runs, and having people that they can turn to in close to late ball games to shut the door and slam the door shut, as I just said the same analogy twice. Corsey Cat says, what is my go-to course field snack, and can I have some? I'm a classic. So if you're asking me what my usual routine is and what I'm eyeballing, I love me a rookie dog. I'm getting a Coors Field dog for sure. But if I can, I'm going in through the left field gate. I'm going to go to the hot dog guy that's right before like the dueling piano bars and where the baseball, is that thing still there? The cool baseball thing? Or I thought I saw that they got rid of the cool baseballs from around the world thing. One of my favorite things, that's a childhood memory of mine, was that cool little baseball thing. And but I always grab a dog and a soda from the vendor there on the corner, and then I go in, and then I'm there. If I'm at a baseball game, I'm eating a hot dog. I'm eating a hot dog, and mostly if I'm not feeling a beer, I'm going for a Coke. That I am a classic as it gets, and I love me some Dippin' Dots. My favorite, one of my things I usually like to get to if I'm feeling really good and really fun at Coors Field, I do love the fresh squeezed lemonade on a hot Coors Field summer afternoon and sitting in the shade. A nice lemonade. And I don't know if they're still there, but they used to have them at Coors, but they had the tornado pretzels, and I like the cinnamon sugar one. But I'm also a big Dippin' Dots, chocolate Dippin' Dots fan as well. So that would be mine. So Corsey Cat, I don't think you can have the sweet stuff, but I will share a little bit of maybe a little bite of the hot dog, maybe a little bite of the bread. Stephen Cross says, do you think Buddy resigns with the team as manager after his contract ends after 23? If the Rockies perform well, if the Rockies are pretty good, and if Buddy really doesn't, if Buddy just enjoys the gig, I don't think could go anywhere. I think Buddy will remain the manager for the Rockies for as long as he wants. I think Buddy's a fine manager. That's something that I'm not necessarily a great analyst of, because I do look at the manager and I'm just like, what are they doing? But I do like the Rockies having pitching focused manager, but my only change would be if you brought someone in that's kind of more one of those. I don't have a name for you, but someone that might be kind of on the, maybe can use analytic and maybe is strong in one area through their experience, but uses analytics and has a strong belief in analytics to beef up their other side. If they're an offensive minded coach, they can use analytics for their defense, but vice versa. But as long as the Rockies aren't catastrophically bad, I don't think Bud Black's going anywhere personally. DMark0812, do you see us getting in on trading for maybe Luis Castillo with the Reds or Frankie Montas with the A's? I don't know what the Rockies would trade to get them. I don't necessarily know what the Rockies, how much people are interested in certain Rockies prospects, because I don't think you're going to see a lot of top Rockies prospects traded, because I think the plan is to go with what they have now, to build for a future with Bryant, McMahon, and Rogers, hopefully being your kind of core vets, as Bryant's going to be getting in towards the end. But when Montgomery, Veen, Tovar, and all these other pieces come up through the system, I don't necessarily know if the Rockies are willing to move away from them. However, could you maybe lighten your load on the prospects that you got to send, and send maybe one of your outfielders or a package of your outfielders to add to depth to these teams if they might need some depth? Sure. I just think those names and those teams are going to be more interested in going to bigger teams with more to give. But the possibility is certainly there. I mean, but if we're, when it comes to trading with the Rockies, if it's not something like one of their key pieces for a major move, you'll see more on like the Tapia level deals where they might just kind of exchange players and try to move things around. Because it'll be really interesting to see too, if the Rockies aren't contenders at the deadline, but they have some of their veteran bullpen pieces performing and things of that nature. Maybe those can be more enticing, but I don't see the Reds and the A's being in a position where they'll trade some of their great players to go there to a non-contending team, because I think they'll be able to get more from a contending team closer to the deadline or maybe in the middle of the season than what the Rockies will be able to give. It'd be great though. It would be great. That would be a big splash move, but it would be a move that would cost the Rockies, and I just don't know if they can pay the price. Opening day tomorrow for the Rockies, we are going to be doing a crossover with Locked On Dodgers. So we will be previewing the series, and we will be chatting with Locked On Dodgers there. And I think I might hop on here and just kind of watch the first inning or two, maybe a little bit of the pregame together, just to do something a little live, a little fun here on the YouTube channel. I'll have the live chat going on. I'll, we'll just be chatting it up. It won't be anything too super formal or too super official or anything like that. Devin's predicting Rockies winning the opening series 2-1. That would be a great sign. It'd be a great sign for the Rockies to get off. And if you can beat the Dodgers to start the season at home, you do feel good. Is it going to mean a lot maybe in the big picture? Probably not, but it's a great way. What better way to start the season off than a nice home series win against the Dodgers? Adrian is upset they don't have the Giants seeds anymore. Oh, the brand, the Giants, the Giants brand's interesting. Yeah, those were good. I like if my favorite seed is a Spitz dill pickle. That's my favorite sunflower seed. But yeah, tomorrow, opening day crossover podcast with Locked On Dodgers. We'll preview the series, talk about a little bit more Rockies baseball stuff with the fine folks at Locked On Dodgers. And yeah, I think I'm going to hop on here and we'll do like an inning or two. I mean, it's a long game. You all might be doing something. You might be at the game. I would imagine most of you are going to be heading down to the ballpark tomorrow. Really enjoy that. And it's going to be an absolute blast. I'm very, very jealous. Opening day is one of the best days of the year. And especially what do we got for Denver weather tomorrow? Let's see. Oh, 68 and sunny. Can you ask for a better afternoon, a day for a ball game in Denver in the spring? Man, and leading into what should be a nice, beautiful opening weekend for Rockies baseball in Denver. Absolutely wonderful. Wow. that is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous day for some baseball. It's going to be a really, really fun day in Colorado. So please go out and enjoy the Rockies. Let's enjoy season together. Thanks for coming along on the ride with us. If you're interested in following with the show throughout the season, well, you can follow us on Twitter at LO Rockies. You can hop in the live chat because we're recording all our podcasts live on the YouTube channel. The time might fluctuate because being a freelance guy, sometimes my schedule goes, but if my schedule is what it is now, you can catch them here in the mornings where I'm at. And so, but we are going to be breaking down things, all things Colorado Rockies all season long right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Folks, your subscription on the YouTube channel does mean a lot. Even if you only listen to audio, if you wouldn't mind clicking that subscribe button, it's a huge help to me here at the Locked On Rockies podcast. It really, really means a lot. Same with all of your ratings and your reviews on your favorite streaming service. And like I said, crossover time tomorrow, opening day. We'll hop on and watch an inning or two together here on the pod. And folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Go check out Locked On MLB Prospects and Locked On MLB Podcast for your second listen of the day. And stay up to date with all things Colorado sports with the Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, and Locked On Nuggets podcast. Don't miss a moment of great Colorado sports action. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the